On the Champions Chess Tour, Magnus, meanwhile, did lose his game. So we have started with the Queen's Pawn. Magnus, we know his strategy. He's going to stop Hou Yifan. He's going to try, at least, to stop her playing active chess. So we see the Queen's Gambit. So far, the Queen's Gambit declined. Will Black capture that gambited pawn? Will Black just develop? Plenty of moves. This position is extremely well known. Black has at least 6 or 7 very logical moves here, but she plays the most direct. Jovanka said it, that's her style. She pushes a pawn, creating maximum tension in the center. And yeah, historically, I think she's played Magnus 5 times in classical chess, lost 5 times, unfortunately, but some very, very close games there. I think Magnus, normally, his wins have been due to tricking her in the endgame or maybe just eventually grinding her down. So Hou Yifan, her best chances do lie in the middle game if she can keep tension.
Physical education, but not only that, she was actually studying in Oxford University. And we have a move, a pawn captures the pawn, bishop takes pawn, very quick reply from Magnus, and pawn moving to the edge of the board. And now, well, it's kind of clear Black wants to expand as much as possible with the pawns on the left side of the board.
Dramatic finals throughout the tour, and right now I was about to say he's going to play pawn takes pawn and he's going to swap those queens. He's going to trade the queens off the board because he knows he's playing a very attacking player, a very dynamic player, and Magnus, he likes to target his opponent's weaknesses. The queens are off the board. Black's queen is just captured, white recaptures. So it's completely level in terms of material, in terms of pawn structure. It's pretty balanced, no big weaknesses, no double pawns, isolated pawns. But Magnus is a master at manoeuvring once the queens are off the board. Start upping the speed. Okay, she brings her knight to a very healthy square there, and just improving her pieces.
Now it's Magnus's turn, and he plays very quickly, just moves his knight to his desired location.
Open up your rook in the corner. There we go, he plays it.
Now is the time to strike. While the iron is hot.
And I noticed Magnus, he always plays this move as soon as Black's dark square bishop lands on that square. Very thematic, very well-known idea. Magnus won't even think here. I guarantee it. He'll just, okay, it looks like his camera's frozen. So maybe he will think if he's lost connection. But okay, he's just going to push his pawn forward even more. 1 square further. He's going to ignore the threat on this knight right now.
Go back. And yeah, pretty much played very quickly. So what is your favorite travel destination in Asia and why? Make us jealous.
Yes, exactly. The winner will be the one who makes us the most jealous.
That's a really bad track record for Black. And this move that David recommended, Magnus has just played, it's a top move. And White has won all their games. There aren't too many games, but White has won every single one of them.
Too great for Black right now. White has a simple move. White's knight, okay, the knight that was attacked has jumped in. The other knight could have jumped in as well. The knights now protecting each other. And look at Black's pawns on that left side of the board. That knight is actually attacking a pawn already in conjunction with White's light squared bishop along the diagonal. So already Black has some serious questions to answer. Can Black just remove? Okay, Black.
Yeah, I was going to say, can Black be greedy and snap off a pawn? In fact, I was going to warn against it. Then I realised it was actually possible.
It's possible.
It's possible, right?
That's why we were both expecting, right, Magnus to use his other knight to jump into that square to keep that pawn that has just been captured, to keep that protected, because that pawn for White, it doesn't look too important. It looks like Black's bishop's a bit offside, having captured it, but that pawn for White was a potential game winner. If more pawns get traded off the board, as long as Black doesn't lose any pieces, if White doesn't have pawns, you're never going to win the game. In an endgame, passed pawns are the currency. That's the best way to win. And that type of move, for me, I would be spending 2 or 3 minutes on it, just thinking, is it possible? Has my opponent kind of lured me forward to capture a pawn? Is it kind of a trick? Is it a trap? But no. Magnus has showed he wasn't expecting it. He's just had to develop his bishop. White's currently down a pawn.
Well, can you castle? Because if you can't castle, okay.
You read her mind, Jovanka. You and Hou Yifan, you've got this psychic connection. She castles, and looks like a good move. Also, Hou Yifan, she's been higher rated. I mean, she nearly got to 2,700, not quite, but 2,700. That's kind of the golden super grandmaster mark. Yeah, I mean, okay. I think she's found a good move, activating a rook that wasn't doing too much, but I was about to say the clock situation, being 4 or 5 minutes down against Magnus Carlsen is not where you want to be.
Especially when older, they focus on other things in life, and this is, as a consequence, means that they don't work as hard. But, okay, I don't know. I mean, there's so many things, and let's get back to the action, because we certainly saw some happening there. What is your favourite travel destination in Asia, and why? And wait 1 second, that's going to have to hold, because the move that you suggested is don't play, it's on the board.
Yeah.
She has taken that knight.
So she's one step closer to her goal of just trading off all the pieces. But now, look, white did have that bad knight on the edge of the board. But by trading, you've traded off a decent knight for black, but you've traded off for white's terrible knight on the side of the board. So suddenly, white's rook in the corner is happy. White doesn't have a problem piece anymore. Black's still stuck with the bad bishop on the edge of the board there. And now she has to deal with that problem. Hou Yifan, how is she going to improve her black bishop stuck there, protecting a pawn? Also, there's going to be tricks. Look at black's back rank as well. It's extremely weak. Black's rook in the corner, kind of defended by the bishop in the middle, but it's all looking very shaky, very loose for black right now. White's rook's on open lines, very comfortable. White has a very powerful knight right now.
Yeah.
It feels, okay, she just gives her king some breathing space. So there's not going to be any checkmates on the back rank. That's a very sensible move by Hou Yifan. Open up diagonals towards your king. But if you are able to push that pawn later on, then that would be fantastic. So, okay, let's go back to the position. Instead, he's pushed his knight to the side of the board. And, okay, what's happening here? Black has to take the rooks. There's a doubler threat now. Rook takes bishop and knight takes rook. You have to solve this tension. So you have to trade rooks now. Earlier we criticised Hou Yifan for trading, but she has to take this rook. She has done. And now the problem is this bishop. You have to deal something. You have to deal with it. Yeah, when I was a junior, when I was a youngster learning the game, playing the game, hundreds of people would walk into this type of, this was the way.
It's on the board. It's on the board, David.
But yeah, this is the most common way that people lose the game when they first learn chess. So that's why we wanted to highlight it.
End up with a win for Magnus.
It's his type of position still. So he's guided it to a position that suits his style, that he's got experience, that it's quite simplified. He is an endgame virtuoso, but Hou Yifan, so far, she's not backing down. She's still been calculating well. She keeps kind of finding herself in awkward situations, then finding a way out of it. And that's the key thing in these endgames. Back it up with some calculation. Maybe she can escape.
Magnus go for that pawn immediately? Because that pawn is all by itself. And yeah, you see it on the board.
E4 is always a good move.
Do you know something really funny? I've just been reading a book about the Soviet championships from 1920, and there they never ever played the move E4.
There we go, E4.
And there you see it's on the board, and the bishop has moved to the edge of the board.
Look how bad that bishop is now.
So
on the
bad.
It was a beautiful piece, and
yeah, it was like completely the opposite.
E4 is for those aggressive players, it's for the attackers.
And there you go. Magnus decides, yes, he absolutely can capture that pawn. And Magnus has just been so smooth, I mean, in the endgame. I mean, I thought that Hou Yifan played enough to actually cause a lot of kind of problems to the world champion.
Yeah, I mean, she was dealing with everything he threw at her, right?
Yeah.
But just, I think, maybe allowing that bishop to get kicked back into the corner.
And there we have a move. Rook moves backwards, and Magnus just goes, I'm going to go forward. You go backwards, I go forward.
That pre-move, he played it instantly. He's putting the pressure on the clock.
That's a dangerous pre-move. You never do that kind of stuff.
By a white piece. And yeah, if you don't... Okay, first Magnus goes for maybe the safe option. He just eliminates the black knight. I didn't think that was necessary, but knights, they're tricky pieces in speed chess. So getting rid of it, white's knight dominates the black bishop, and now that pawn is marching.
And it's going to march one more step. Oh, and you can just see you can just see it there on Hou Yifan's camera. She knows it's all over.
Yeah.
And now there's only one square that the rook can move to, and it's just to step in front of its king. Not good.
Step in front of its king?
No, just rook to
okay,
E7.
I didn't even see that was possible. I assumed Hou Yifan would choose this square for her rook. So it was impossible to go after white's pawn there because black's bishop was trapped in the corner. Black had to move that bishop, but now there's tactics, there's tricks.
Yeah.
White is now attacking that black bishop. That black